There we go. What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here, with the podcast. Hello. Um, we got a few things to talk about. This is the YCS Anaheim uh one. We'll include the band list and stuff like that too, because obviously. Uh, so did you watch any of day one, Stefan? I know we watched
I
like a little bit
watched
of day two
I
together, but
watched a little bit of day one, but I had to go and do parade thing for charity work, so
yeah,
I wasn't uh I wasn't putting too much time in it. I had a lot of stuff, but I was watching a few of the games. Like, okay, this is pretty interesting.
okay,
Like usual, I basically get the play by play in the chat by Trevor, and sometimes he's really slow with that play.
yeah. Um, so for day one, um. Rizio, as expected, had like a really good performance on feature and in the tournament as
I
a
was
whole.
I was really impressed though, like that we did get enough feature of them. Like, 'cause I genuinely had a suspicion that when the set came out, how many people were going to actually acquire it and be able to play it, or who was just going to stick with, old reliable. So it's
Yeah,
actually interesting that a lot of people put down and actually got it in there and did it. But
well, like not everyone did, right? So like Team
I guess those
Samurai,
that did got rewarded.
Team Samurai played Yubel again and didn't.
Yeah.
I I don't think he made it to top 32. I know he didn't make a top 32 cut, but I don't know if he made it to day two at all. Um,
Paid off for Trick.
he got multiple. Him and the guy he was on stream with though, with
Hmm.
Sam, got multiple slow play. They both got slow play warnings, and that happened a decent amount through this tournament. And I
I
think,
I think they were setting precedents from this going, look, no slow play.
yeah,
We're not in a format that is that complicated that needs to be that
but also I think, well, in the player's defense, I think that the cards are new, but most of the time when they were slow playing, it was because they were reading the Rise Deal and the Malice cards. The exception being the person that had to read all the Yabel cards multiple times. It's like Yabel has been in the format for how long now and is still having to do it. But yeah, um, commentary wise on the YCS, was much better than the last one I watched. I think the people doing the commentating did a better job than last time.
stuff.
Knocked it out of the park. Uh,
Bit
especially
of that
because
for the game.
especially because like there was this one person, I don't know who they were, in the one for like the European YCS that I watched, that was complaining about how broken the game was on as a commentator, and I don't think you should be
It's
doing
not
that.
professional at all.
Yeah, so it just it just felt like really unprofessional of the person in that commentating booth at that YCS, but we had no incidents for Anaheim like that, luckily. So that's great. However, for incidents, we did have the stream crash multiple times in day one.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone there was something wrong with one of the wires or something.
Didn't like X Site Night just get on there and just shut down the whole stream
Yeah,
too?
that happened, and then
That'd
uh
be the perfect time.
when they got it back up and running, and they were doing the guess the card thing, what happened was the person with an I Love Bray T-shirt, and it crashed again right there. Also, you're
Nice.
really blurry. Your
Uh,
camera
uh,
is
cameras,
uh
cameras being a dick.
not wanting to focus, I guess.
Yeah, they'll have to live with it.
Yeah. I will say, for day one, at least, Malice didn't seem like it had a very good impression. It didn't make a good impression on me. because of how much they were bricking or how much like they just kept losing on stream and stuff. So like Malice didn't leave a strong impression day one. Day two left a better impression, but I still have doubts about that deck.
It pays a lot of life points.
Yeah. I will say, uh, even though the deck is pretty much gone now, Snake Eye on feature bricked multiple times already, and with the current hit to OSS on the ban list, spoilers. Uh, if you haven't seen, there you go. Now you're golden. But if you hadn't seen the ban list yet, original Sinful Spoils got banned. We'll talk about the ban list in general a little bit later. But uh, that deck is gone. It's not competitively viable whatsoever anymore. You could probably throw it in as an engine into like
At what point was it just not going to get power crept out? I mean,
I don't think it was power crept. I just think that it had bad matchups against Ryzeal and Malice in its current state. So um that is my opinion. I think because and that happens sometimes where a deck doesn't get power crept, it just is knocked down because the two new decks came out that happen to counter it. We've seen that before in like the past and everything. People go and they
well,
revisit.
Robert was playing that deck though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was playing
I
the
think
Snake
he,
Eye.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure he was playing the Snake Eye thing, and I mean, one of the other guys in the chat was like, "I don't know, is Ryanville really that good though? You'll experience it and you'll find out."
Mm-hmm.
Robert's a very competent Snake Eye player. I would argue that none of us are better at it than he is.
Uh, Ubel also. I know Jesse Cotton said the Ubel matchup is fine in Ryzeal. My impression of it was that Ubel wasn't actually very good in Ryzeal. Because yeah, your monsters float, but Ryzeal doesn't care and will probably just pop things until it gets what it needs to.
I think the metaphor that I came up with now is, oh, you're gonna patch that hole in the ship. I'm gonna shoot two more into it.
Mm-hmm. I
It will keep machine gunning you.
I don't think I just don't think Yubel, even with Gates, is gonna be able to compete. I do think that Gates probably shouldn't have come off. I think Yubel has run its course, and it should stay hit. Uh, but I think that that might also be my bias because anytime Yubel was on feature, I was starting to fall asleep.
I think
That deck is very boring
Shifter
to watch.
Shifter's gonna probably naturally uh, flatten itself a little bit out of the format. I think.
Shifter, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ryziel gets hit as hard by it,
Uh,
considering plugin can just target a banished card.
so Ryzeal can play through it for the most part. Yeah,
Malice mains it.
yeah. Um, in the OCG, they were having them side it except for Malice. So they were just siding it. A lot of decks
I
were.
mean, unless you're facing Malice, maybe it'll actually Malice or even Cafeteria. At least it'll mean that you're not getting turn one shifted,
Yeah.
and then that means that you just have like hopefully three more games to get shifted, and
But
maybe Shifter will adjust itself. I think of Shifter because with that with them giving Ubel that spell of the bat, or giving them more copies of the one spell or one card, they can do they can go into the cat and then they can summon Chaos Hunter from the deck to out shifter play. So if we were going into a format where there's going to be a lot of shifter main boarded, that
mhm.
would give them staying power in the extra deck to be able to play around that in games 2 and 3.
Oh,
Because you can make the stupid things, get the level twos out, overlay, make the cat, summon the shifter, target the shifter, get chaos hunter out of the deck, Now cards can't be banished anymore, and then
Mm.
continue U-belling.
I gotta
Right, does
say,
it?
um, I mentioned how the stream kept crashing and dying in day one, and they fixed it and everything. The fact it did that at all, as much as it did, um, is a problem, and I think Konami should really work on ways to prevent that, or maybe have backup cables or anything like that on hand so that they can just do it real fast, so they don't have as many issues as they did. Uh, so that's
At least they're recording them this year.
yeah.
Remember when we had that year where they just straight up weren't?
Mm,
So I mean,
uh,
which was impressive in itself. You'd have a big event like that and not have it be recorded.
yeah. Um, I will say though, the day one, day one's features were okay. They were pretty middle of the road to me. I didn't have like any too negative feelings.
Did day one feel as cherry picked as like say at the height of like the format before where they were just like,
Oh,
let's just give you guys all of these weird decks and cool
it,
entertaining things because tomorrow is going to be nothing but Snake Eye.
I I wish they would have. I wish I did, or they did would have, but no. It was like we had a few things here and there, but most of it was Ryzeal and Malice in day one, one of the two
But
decks.
I think it's fine for anyone watching that. They want to watch that interaction in those plays. I should have been watching it honestly, so that
Uh,
I can learn more about the format. But
However, day two, the very first deck on feature was Fluwandereeze, and man, did it not do well. It like got completely destroyed. It was like one of the fastest 2-0s they've ever shown on a feature, and this includes Tempai format with Tempais.
I it just blows my mind because I kept joking about Fluenderies. I'm like, you could do it. You could get away with it. You
Eh,
can play end the band till late on.
but it didn't. Yeah, it just Flu. I don't think is a good pick this format. A lot of things with Flu is that
But
like
lose one turn.
it's just not thing. And I admittedly, partway through day two, I started losing interest in it, but I persevered. I pushed through to try to watch all of it so I can uh like have a good opinion on it, and I wrote down notes and stuff. Flu
I know you ended up calling me and like, can you watch this with me? I'm like, I'm already watching it.
Well, no. I as soon as you said you were watching it, I was like, you want to just Discord party watch it
Yeah.
since we're but Ryzeal isn't an infallible deck though, because it
No.
bricked on feature as well. So it has capabilities of just
When I
bricking.
did the play testing with you, I straight up bricked.
Yeah, it.
Felt like I was playing Sprite again. I saw a hand that I've seen in Sprite before when I went, I got nothing.
I I thought it was but knowing that it can brick is kind of a reassuring thing, right? Because like Snake Eye, the only because Snake Eye never bricked really, like it never felt like
No.
it did, and that was like that's like a worry thing. Same thing with U-Bell, it never felt like it truly bricked. But the
The
fact,
one time I had a Snake Eye deck brick on me, I also bricked on hand trap. So it was draw pass, draw pass, draw pass. Try and do this, stop that. Okay, my turn. Draw. You do this. No, stop that. And it was so bad. Because as soon
yeah,
as they drew one thing, I was done.
yeah, um, but Castell did make an appearance. I was like, let's go,
And the
Castell.
amount of people that don't know what Castell does.
Dude, the fact that people had to
Josh is
read it.
guilty of it. Why aren't you Castelling him? There's no face up card. What?
Oh, it never came up. what he said. But no, Castell per game got me pretty hyped because I was like, it's 2014 again. Let's go. That was a very
Cards are
common thing.
so good.
Uh, I got frustrated watching the Tempai and everything because I'm so sick and
Why
tired.
are you discarding it?
I'm
Put some
so
respect on it.
I'm so tired, and it's at one now of them. Tempai
How
players,
are we going to play the game if we can't discard it?
pretty much. No, that's what it feels
I've
like.
had so many like Timpai people feel like they're complaining about that, and it's to me. Oh god, I hate this camera. But
Uh,
it's
But
mind-boggling to me because like I've watched you play it, and I played against you with it, and every time I play against you, it's like this is how Timpai should play. And then I play against other Timpai players, and they're not doing what you do, and I'm sitting here going, "Do you know how to play this deck? Why?" I was, "Well, you're not doing this. This. No, that's not what we're doing." It's like, why? I'm like,
mm,
you, you're just setting yourself up for failure. I do this, you failed.
the amount of disrespect Chandra gets from other Tempai players is ridiculous, and I'm so annoyed because it is the way you OTK. Chandra is the one card OTK. People are like, oh, but Pydra is the one card OTK. Pydra is the one card OTK because it gets you to Chandra. So
Summon Chandra. Do you have an answer? No, I win.
yeah,
Rather than discard Chandra, Pydra. Now I just gave you an option to deal with my Chandra.
um, Uh, but now that it's at one, people who are gonna like, no one's gonna probably stick with the deck. Let's be clear here. That deck has too many one ofs now. It's not consistent, and it's gonna brick more times than not. But if someone does decide to stick with it, maybe they'll respect Chandra more. But we did see protect cards and stuff like that for mirror matches. Metaltronus. I had to look up what that card
That was
did.
wild.
That card's
I
pretty crazy, like for mirror matches specifically. But it it didn't really get there. And we were talking about Tempai earlier. It's frustrating because the discarding Chandra didn't matter. It was a punish. It got punished for it, but it didn't matter, and the opponent couldn't punish them enough to kill them on the crackback. It was, but yeah. Metatronus though was pretty cool to see on
it's a
stream and see
nat
it
10 card.
used.
Pretty neat.
Triff not only got in the finals, Triff won the whole thing, and he barely made it into top 32. He got there from
He got
bubbling
hit
into.
with that card twice, two different players, right?
It was one
No,
player to,
one player hit him with it twice. Okay, yeah.
and he still won and played through it. But Triff won the whole event, and it was a very swan song story because he bubbled in the top 32. He barely made it. He would, and then he won the whole thing with Riziel Fiendsmith.
I love it. Well, how do you feel? I know I was going to win.
it it is really funny though to watch his opponent. In I think when he was in top four, I think it was that one. It was either that one or his Tempai opponent. It was because they were smiling and really confident going into it because they'd beaten Triff in like a previous event, and then when Triff beat them, their smile and laughing and like this is gonna be easy type of like look they had just changed like completely and looked
It's
like
true,
they
but just
weren't having
having
fun.
fun the whole time.
Yeah. Uh, but for Ryziel, I think this is gonna be like a good format because Ryziel's not that oppressive. There are very easy outs to what they are doing. Rank fours are something that older players should be used to playing around and playing against. Newer players, not so much since rank fours haven't been relevant since Zodiac, really. Um,
It's our time now. It's our time.
but Ryziel, it has a lot of easy outs. You can just play well, don't play and the band played on. Like as much as we joke about it, that card is easy for that deck to out, but it is really funny. Um, Dimensional Barrier is really, really good into the deck. Uh,
I think D barrier is going to be mainboarded now, at least at one.
it to at least consider it, right? Like you at least have to consider it.
I'm thinking in the build I have, I might have to even just put it at one as a crossout target because it is a scary card.
Uh, Flying Sea, I they can out it, uh, but it is pretty funny that that card could technically see play coming back again. Book of Eclipse is really good into them. So you eclipse
Oh
them
yeah.
and then you just play the game and stuff like that.
Like when you flipped the eclipse on me and I had the judgment in that one game, in my brain I went, man, if he had a second one of those on the field, I'd be done. My turn would end right here.
Yep. It's but it was really like Eclipse shuts off that whole thing, their board and stuff like that. So there are easy outs to it. If you want something cheeky, something a little bit spicy, you can play XE's Encore. That card is spice. That card is
It
just
is that
spice.
card is great when it comes up when there's exceeds in the format. He's like, wow.
That
Like he
card
had it during Rongo and
I played it during the XE's festival on Master Duel one time when the XE's festival. It was great. I was main decking three of it, and it would be funny because sometimes people just go off and then you just do that to them, and then just they concede because they can't respond to it either. Like even if they have something, it says that they can't respond to it, so it just outs
yeah,
it. Like the first
done.
XE's the first XE's festival had Rongo, I'm pretty sure legal, and
Yeah,
I just did that to a Rongo player, and then they just conceded.
I was playing Paleozoic Frog at that one.
Mm. But what's funny about XE's Encore against Ryzeal is yeah, it summons the stuff back, but they have one lower level as well. So like they can't make anything with them, and they're not playing links. It's really funny. I don't think it's good. It doesn't out the whole board, but it is really funny.
You play one link in the deck.
Yeah, and that's just because
Dactyl Donner.
that's just to get rid of the token if you get hit with Nib. But
Yeah,
there's an argument to main decking Nibiru and then using it as crossout fodder.
that's what I'm currently doing.
Yeah. Speaking of things that like help like shut down because we talked about Ryzeal, Lancia just literally says skip the mouse player's turn.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I Lancia'd you and you just lost, right?
Yep.
You just you went to do something and I went, wow, okay, Lancia right here. Note, there is a note here, a big note. Do not ever Lancia in response to Allure of Darkness.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't. That is
Because
just
they'll reveal their dark monster. Like, I have it, so I don't discard my hand, but it
mm,
can't be banished.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
preemptively Lancia them so they can't allure you.
a interesting thing that happened though is so there was a lot of people, big names in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that was at YCS Anaheim. One of
It seemed
which,
like it was a who's who thing there. Like our
yeah,
friends that were there, like we saw this person, we saw that person. Like, God, why did I go? Why didn't I go to the one way CS that has all the cool people?
yeah. But Jesse Cotton dropped round three to go do side events. Said he wasn't. A lot of shit came up, and he just wasn't like fully prepared and all that because of personal stuff on his Twitter. And so he brought Snake Eyes, and it just didn't work out. And so he just dropped and did side events. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of crazy to me that someone like him wasn't like his skill didn't like couldn't carry him through it, even though he wasn't prepared like he said. I don't think a lot of the pros or the high level players were as prepared for the format as people thought they were, or like as they usually are. Because like Joshua Schmidt only
It's an
made top
off-season time.
16.
You think about it. It's an off-season time really for us. I know
Mm,
it sounds weird, but you have all these holidays and stuff adding up, and this is the time of year when a lot of stuff hits the fan. It's probably the easiest time to actually beat out the better players. Plus,
yeah.
they probably have the fatigue and stuff from working the whole entire year round,
Mm.
doing events and stuff.
Alright, let's let's talk about the ban list. I guess this is like I need to go look it up because have
Yes.
I don't have it memorized. I will say I was right on more predictions than I should have been.
That's why I'm impressed we didn't have a video before that where your predictions were just like this, and this.
I did think about it. I did think about our talk about the ban list and everything and making a video on it and then recording that and just saying, "Hey, I want to hit the recording button. I'm not going to do an intro." And everything. I thought about doing that, but then I just went, "Nah." Uh,
Yeah, that's fun. Just record.
but I was right on the money with the 10 pie hits. I said Blaster and all them. Everyone knew that the Dragon Rulers were coming back. Uh, I think, I mean, those were like the big ones. I think I just randomly would say like things and just kind of shoot it out. But those were like the big ones. I nailed all the 10 pie hits for sure.
Oh yeah,
And I
like
think,
you were
but
like, if they hit Chandra, then they have to hit this card, and that's how they're going to have to do it. And then it happened, and I'm seeing they're just like, why does he have to be so right about these things?
there's a lot of things that I think about what goes into like a deck list or like a ban list, right? I don't like making prediction videos. And I don't because there's no way for me, admittedly, to like fully commit and make it so I'm not being any point of bias, right? Like there
Yeah,
will be a little bit bias in there. But as someone who played Tempai, that was my thing was just I, they have to hit Sengen Kamin and they have to hit Chandra. And Sengen Kamin was some of the only reason I lost to Tenpai. Because I'd stop everything else and then they go that and then I lose. And I'm like, oh, okay. When I was at YCS Sacramento. So,
but what about Master Duel picking violent?
oh, I was convinced some of those cards were coming off the list too. I was like,
I know. I was just saying that, like, are we gonna follow Master Duel?
I was at least somewhat convinced the masterpiece would come off, and I even said I'm not going to be happy about it, but
I don't
that's
think Masterpiece is correct. He feels like he's a little too much format warping.
okay.
Plus, I would play I would play Ryziel through Draco.
Mm. So,
It'd work. It it'd basically just be like True Draco Zoo.
mm. I will say, I do like the how they did the YC or how they did the ban list reveal. 10 out
Yeah,
of
they need
10.
to do that more.
Uh,
That is very much like wrestling. Like I made the joke. I was like, dude, they got the money in the freaking suitcase thing.
yeah.
I'm like, can you guys have Billy wrestle the other guy
Mhm.
and tables, ladders, and chair where they have to climb to get the freaking suitcase to see what our band list is?
All right. So, uh, there's the Dragon Rulers got unlimited. Pankratops got
Amazing.
unlimited, which is
That
pretty
should have
cool.
happened so much longer ago.
I agree. It is still cool, but I agree.
I mean, we have maximum copies of better Pinkertops now.
Fenrir.
Fenrir, yeah. Like Pinkertop should just come back to 3. Like I get Pinkertop is like technically better because your opponent just has to control more than you, but because so you could on a full field still hit a pinker top in theory, but
You could do
um,
both. Technically, you could do both. You could spin
yes,
rear and then pinker tops, and they're both sevens. but
beautiful, man.
but pinker tops, the dragon rulers, they came
Thank you,
back.
lady.
Lunalite
Pinker top.
tigers at 3. Who
Why
cares?
was I didn't even know that that thing was on the list.
Oh, it was limited for a long time because
I didn't even know.
they were looping as a thought and like all that and everything. So and like rank fours apparently summoning a level 4 back repeatedly is not okay because it's a soft once per turn.
Oh,
Yeah, so they would activate it, bring back a Luna Light, bounce Tiger with something else, then uh, overlay, detach, do something with the XEs, replay the Tiger, do it again, and stuff like that. And it didn't matter that their effects are negated that is summoned because the one of the Luna Lights that you keep bringing back
cost.
sends for cost, so it didn't
Yeah,
matter.
pinker top.
Airlifter, Rescue Ace Airlifter is back at 3. Who cares? It, my opinion, it shouldn't have been hit in the first place. Um, I
That
think
deck got that deck got
power,
crept.
yeah.
It
Um,
it, it just kind of got crept.
uh, Colossus is back, which is whatever. The difference between 1 and 3 is negligible. Same thing with Ib.
I was watching what's his nut, Simo. He's like, why are you at 3? And I'm sitting there going, dude, it was at 2 before. What is 3 going to do? You think someone's going to actually run 3 Colossus?
Our extra deck space is getting tighter and tighter nowadays as more cards get released. So
You'd be lucky if you ran 2.
yeah, Ib coming back to 3. It was already at like 1 or 2. Nobody
It was at
cares.
2 before, I think.
Yeah. For semi limits, we already talked about opening coming back to 3. Semi limits, Cyberjar, sure.
Hey, shout outs to
James.
James.
James saw
It's
that
Jeff
and went best list ever.
best list ever, and I knew he was gonna say it too. Like he's riding high on that one.
Uh, Jackalope and Tsuchinoko are finally back. They could have came back a while ago. I'll be
I
honest.
didn't know that they were at 1 still.
Yeah, Ava at 2. Whatever.
That card still scares the heck out of me, but maybe it's just PTSD from Master Duel.
Yeah, and then Monkey Board at 2. Whatever. You could release
That
almost.
might be relevant.
No, I think you can release almost any pendulum card as long as Electrum never comes back.
Electromite.
All right. For the limits, we already talked about Singing Kami and Chandra
Yeah.
and everything. We talked about them. Phantom of Yubel finally got limited. Thank God. You shouldn't be able to make it with another copy of itself, and it's stupid that you can do that, and it's stupid that you can summon multiple in a turn. So
It's
I'm
like
glad
you
it's
get
one.
out the one or just neutralize the one. They just go do it again.
Yeah, and a lot of times at YCS Sacramento, when I went there with Tier Fiendsmith, if I lost U belt, that's why I lost is because of Phantom. Um, but the card I misheard and I went, "What?" was Zodiac Barrage.
You
Because
thought it was Broad Bull.
I did, because all I heard was Zodiac Bra, and then it like cut out on the sound, and I went, "What?" And then they
I was
showed
like,
it, and I went, "Oh, it's
yeah.
Barrage." Okay. I thought he said Broad Bowl, and I went, what?
Could you imagine bringing back that Giga Chad in a rank 4 format?
uh, I
You
would
would
not.
make him the way God intended.
He got banned because people were making the way God
There
intended.
was a dinosaur deck that did not play any main deck zoo, and it could make broad bulls and stuff and loop it and make it the way that you're intended to. And the whole payoff of the deck was to use the rank 9 exceed that banishes the card from your opponent's hand
Mm-hmm.
or their deck. So you're looping that. First thing you do is you loop their hand and you banish their whole hand. And then after that, you start looping it and you go, okay, I'm going to take the top card off your deck. Okay, I'm going to take the top card off your deck. You do the loop again. You go, I'm going to keep doing this. You're going to submit or, you know, and the whole point was is you take the hand first because if you screw up, then at least they don't have a hand to play with anymore.
I played Zodiac Luna Light for a little bit on Project Ignis. Actually, it was YGO Pro Percy back then. I was
Yeah,
playing it.
Percy.
I was playing it, and I think I played against you once with it, and I just kept making broad bowls and searching every Lunalight card out of my deck. And
And I was just like, the thing's not once per turn. Like you could summon it through its other way once per turn, but if you do it the way God intended, you just do this all day.
and then I made like a Dryden, and then like I think an F-Zero, and then or a Link monster or something because Links had just come out and stuff like that. And then I made like a few, and then I made like the big boss fusion on you and stuff, and you went, "Wow!" And I was like, "Yeah,
That was when your whole entire thought process for playing online was, I don't know what to put in this deck. Better put Zoo in
it worked." I,
every single time. It's like, I'm gonna play this awful deck. Okay, better put Zoo in.
I was missing 13 cards almost every time. Zoo had like a
I'm
13
starting to
card
think that
engine.
was I'm starting to think that was a habit at that point.
Yeah. Uh, for the Forbidden List, uh, cards, uh, almost everybody cheered for. Gimmick Puppet Nightmare got banned.
There was a
Jowgen,
cheer and then there was a boo from the fucking.
yeah. Then there was Jowgen, and then there was original Sinful Spoil Snake. I got banned.
I
Uh,
actually I actually know a branded player, um, not Trevor,
mm,
um, one of the people I'm subscribed to, and the guy from my local, you know, he was so tilted that they hit it.
mm.
Like he did his video, his reaction to it, and his only reaction was just basically about that. Like he didn't want to cover any of the other stuff, which I understand. He just wanted to cover what he understood. And I just he was just so he's like, now what do we do? Like they're
um, I don't remember if they banned it, but there's a monster that says that you cannot summon.
yeah, I think he mentioned a few of them, but they all seem like rough,
So like I
you
mean you
know.
still sanctifier it. Jowgen's the easiest one to get out. That's why. But like um that's why they banned that one. In Master Duel, the reason they hit all of them that say that can be special summoned, the whole you can't special if they can be special, they hit it on Master Duel because people wouldn't stop playing branded on Master Duel and doing that, which in a best of one format is a lot harder to like get away from. And like you need to get away from those a lot more than best of three.
I mean, can't you just bring out a dark barrier statue and call it a day?
Dark is like, yeah, but dark's like the most common attribute.
Mm, yeah,
They
fair.
and light's like pretty close to being there too.
Well,
Um,
send both of them to the graveyard. Give your opponent one and give yourself one. Now, no.
no, it's special summon at all.
Yeah,
That would be
I'm
funny.
a branded player now.
I would I mean I would be fine because I'm a believer in main decking droplet at least and everything for like
You like every time you got me in our matchups, I would set something up, and in my brain, I'd be like, "So I know how this board goes apart," and you'd be like, "Droplet," and I'm like, "I knew you had it because you're like one of the. It's it is your spirit animal at this time. It's just Droplet. Just
it's
here
my
you
called
go,
by.
Stefan.
It is my new called by the grave. That's what
It is.
they're called.
What are you talking about? You get called by too.
I know, and I have crossouts.
I hate crossouts. Place cross out on me. Okay.
Yeah, I hated crossout before because I was using it the wrong way, pretty much. I was
Yeah.
using it in the way that the Rongo deck used it. I would play them as one ofs or something like that because I was trying to make as have as much room as possible for things and everything, and for engine, and it wasn't working because I always drew my one ofs and my crossout targets.
Yeah. Like my crossout targets, I have them basically maximized too because my crossout targets that stop me also stop most decks in the format.
Yeah, I think that like crossout is a card I came full circle on. I went from I hate crossout, I'd rather play called by, I miss called by, to crossout's pretty good. Like I'll play the three crossouts and the called by to guarantee my combo
There
goes
there
through.
was one hand where like you went called by on me and I had to look at my deck list because this is when I first downloaded it. Looking, I'm like, oh, this person sideboarded called by. Why would you sideboard called by?
Yeah,
And like, cause you called by me and I had the cross out, and I'm like, man, if that was a cross out, I would just cross out your cross out. But it's a
mm,
called by and I have no target.
yeah. I came full circle on crossout. I think it's great. I haven't. I have three copies of it in real life, and I've not used it yet.
I need to buy 3 copies.
I have three, and I've never used it because it's not in the tier limit deck, and
I've
that's like,
never borrowed them from you. I didn't even know you had them, or else I probably would have borrowed them.
yeah, I have the
Because
super
so many of
rares.
my deck lists just run them in the sideboard, and
Yeah, I have them at three. I have three copies. I have three of them exactly, and I have the supers.
but now that I thought about it, you bought all the hand traps before, so I mean, it's
Yeah.
logical that you would have bought the crossouts when they
Well, yeah.
became affordable too.
Yeah, I like spent like $50 on hand traps or something like that one day, like at one time, and the
They've
only
gone up in price.
and yeah, and the only and got all of the Ghost Girls. That's pretty much what I bought at that time. I bought all the Ghost Girls. That was like $50, all of which being Ash Blossom. Pretty most of the price was Ash Blossom. Then
And I think I traded you another set of Ash Blossoms, or made you buy another set because you had the feet picture ones, and you were
yeah,
done with those.
I
Now
wanted
I have them.
I wanted the regular ones. The only reason I got the feet picture ones is because at the time they were the cheapest version.
Yeah,
They were like $2 to $3, whereas the common from freaking the original common printing or whatever from the structure deck was like 7 or 8, so or something like that. So I went, okay, well, no, okay, I remember the feet one was like $15 from Dual Devastator,
yeah.
and the regular ones were 20 to 30 depending on what set you got them from. So I went, I'm gonna say this and everything. And the only reason I didn't get Nib at that time is because Nibiru was like 40 or 50 bucks a piece. And so I went, I won't bother with it. I'll wait. And then Nib got reprinted in one of the rarity collections, and that's where I bought
Yeah,
it.
I remember. I think when it got reprinted, I bought mine for like 10 a piece or something like that. It wasn't awful. And one of the people actually sent me the token with it, and that token
Mm.
is worth more than the nib at this point.
I got my Nibs for $2 because I got the super rare from Rarity Collection.
I need to buy more nibs. They traded off one of my copies of nib.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did.
Um,
Um,
I have so yeah. Right now I'm sticking with Tier Lament, even though it's
I
not like
figured
not the best deck right now. I don't have all the Fiendsmith stuff for it either.
I
Um,
could always send you the sprite deck.
uh, I took apart Tempai
You could build
entirely.
Ghost Trick.
I could. You know what I could do? I could build. I could build Tempai Dragon Rulers. I only need Chandra, so I only need to banish Blaster. And then they're gonna lose. They are free discards for the field spell. Let's
You
go.
know, I have a max rarity.
Yeah. I have like several blasters, some of which are
Where's that? I think yeah, because I opened a couple of those packs, and I think I ended up with the max rarity blaster, and everyone's like, "That's really expensive. That's really expensive." Looking at it, like someone bought these out, saying, "Is it
mm,
worth this price?"
uh
It's
I
just blaster, guys.
I have commons of blaster, some of which are in the pile that are going in our cube. We have a cube now. But
Yeah, it's sitting over in the. It's actually seen exactly where you guys left it, where we left it.
mhm.
And I was just like, if I move that cube and move and lose it, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah. I think
So,
but yeah, it's Dragon Rulers or whatever. Like I don't they're not gonna do anything. They could have came back. I mean, we've talked about it several times. They could have came back in
years
like 2018. They could have came back and would have been
2018 would have been the time they could have come back.
they probably could have came
I
back
like
during Zoo,
I like
but
that they reprinted them though, because if any format were to get popular and it were baby ruler format got popular, I would drop out of a YCS to play in a baby ruler format. I would I would make a baby ruler deck and I would play in that format because my god, is that format so wildly fun.
I'd play
That is
spellbooks.
peak Yu-Gi-Oh right there.
I'd play spellbooks 100%.
Like that is the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's disappointing that everyone's like, Edison or Go. And I'm just like, why don't we play the format where the only expensive cards were a bunch of extra deck cards and everything else was just dirt cheap?
For Dragon Ruler, yeah. For
Like Dragon Ruler was just like, I'm playing with dirt cheap cards. Yeah, my extra deck is worth more than your whole deck.
the extra deck was like $1,500, and then like everything else was like the main deck was like 30.
I think my favorite part about that though is that it means that you could run a worst version of Dragon Ruler without the extra deck, and you could probably gotten wins by just Dragon Ruler this, Dragon Ruler that, and the opponent goes, "Nah, I'm done."
What I liked about that format online is there's a lot of really bad Dragon Ruler players too. So like you'd
I'm
run
one of
into
them.
them, so you'd like run into them and you just stomp them with like one of the worst decks you've ever seen. I can't tell you how many I beat with Ice Barrier of all things back then. So like, but my Ice Barrier was a little different. I like actually made rate sevens, and we'd have Big Eye Wars regardless because titles.
Ice Barrier, Ice Barrier is a pretty fun deck. The new one. Once again,
Mm,
one of my guys from locals plays that deck, and he stomped me with it, and now I know how to beat it. But I didn't know how to beat it before, and
um,
yeah,
So I know you just picked up a Kashtira core, right? What are your thoughts that
I'm
they
going
didn't?
to on
Oh,
Thursday. Yeah.
okay, okay, you're having it. What are your thoughts on the fact that they didn't hit Kashtira whatsoever? Because I know some people were actually surprised about that. I wasn't surprised that they didn't hit it, but I was seeing online people were like, "Why didn't they hit Kashtira? Why didn't they?" I was like,
So Kashtira is good at local level. Actually, the person I'm picking up a core from is someone I play at locals with,
mm-hmm,
and I kept saying, I'm just going to pick up a Kashtira core one of these days, and he's picking up Ryzeal. He already bought the whole deck, the like pre-release thing, and he's just waiting on his card. And he was like, "Do you want to buy my Kashtira core from me?" And I said, "Yeah, cool. Throw me the number." Um, the deck is good on right now. The deck is really good in my opinion, on a local level. Once you get to higher levels of play and you've played against the deck enough and you have enough practice against it, it is an easy deck to solve. If they shifter you and you play through the shifter and stop their plays, they can't win. So, and they're good at the grind. Like, don't get me wrong, it is a very good grindy deck. But if you prevent them from grinding
mm-hmm.
and you kind of just shift them around, they usually just lose to a straight up outright kill. So the deck has to pull you down, and um, I play Sprite. It's a very well known fact. I play Sprite. I always talk about it. Um, I was able to play through shifters and stuff and win because if the deck isn't stopping you with shifter and you haven't drawn a bunch of hand traps, you can beat it. So it's a really it's a really good deck that punishes people that have never played against Kashtira or don't have enough practice against Kashtira. I would say about at this point, I could probably win 60% of the time against Kashtira. And the 40% that I'm losing is probably because I drew a hand that straight up said I need the graveyard and they've shifted me. So it's like it is a very shifter heavy deck. So if you're going to play it, why not just play Malice, where you just get to special summon from?
Yeah.
So, and I am not surprised at all that deck didn't get hit because it hasn't had too many good showings. Um, Now going into this format, it could have a couple of really good showings. I think it's a pretty good rogue at this point if you're skilled. So the people complaining about not getting hit probably have really skilled Kashtira players at
Yeah.
their locals or what they're facing. It is a very skill based deck.
Um. My opinion on it is that as long as a Rise Heart stays banned, they don't need any more hits. The
Yeah,
deck is fine. Unicorn, I understand is annoying to play against because it rips cards out of the extra deck. That's the card that people want hit the most is Kashtira Unicorn. But it's not hard to out. You have main deck answers to it that most decks are playing. I understand not many people are playing droplets. That's fine. You have Imperm to out it, and you have side deck cards. Like Book of Eclipse is also good against Kashtira. You're gonna shut off their things. You're gonna do this, and they can't even full zone lock you anymore, and it's fine.
triple talent.
Yeah.
Just how I have beaten the deck so many times is main phase, do something, them, activate an effect, me, talent, take your exceed, shift your exceed to attack mode, boom, make a Zeus over it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could even go to the battle phase, attack into it, take the damage, and then go to the next, activate, make a Zeus, clear their board. Um, what you also do to the deck is you don't have to run multiple copies of extra deck monsters always.
Mm.
As long as the person you're playing against on a local level has seen you do something wickedly wild with an extra deck card, they will always pick that card. You want to guess what card always gets picked from my extra deck whenever I play Sprite?
Is it Mannequin Cat?
It is not Mannequin Cat. It is the Ninja Mosquito.
I actually understand why, because that card represents guaranteed OTK pretty
It
much.
is a guaranteed OTK, and it leaves the rest of my extra deck alone. And then I break their board, and then just kill them another way, and they just sit there. And they go. Um, Ninja Mosquito, by the way, doesn't target for its effect. That is very relevant.
Yeah. You want to know what's funny though? Is one time Stefan and I were just messing around, and I was playing Mimigul Kashtira, and I was playing Charm, and I ripped. I'm pretty sure I ripped a mosquito out of your extra deck, and then I ripped. And then with Charm, I managed to get your Toad, and then you're like, I can't win now. like,
I can't win. Yeah. When you had the toad, I was like, no.
I was like, let's go. I felt so
That
vindicated that like the Mimigul players at our locals and a lot of the ones I've seen online and people talking about it were like, oh, the best version of Mimighouls is pure, or the best version is the Snake Eye stuff. And I went, no, the best version is the Kashtira one
Kashtira. Kashtira backed up with talents
or
and
Fiendsmith.
thrust.
Like when I threw in the Fiendsmith,
Thrust,
and
thrust and talent.
yeah,
And like it, it's really Kashtira really good. It is a good deck. So I'm picking up the core more of it. I mean, don't want to talk about how much I'm spending. It's not very much. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I think it's like all the stuff I'm getting is like 100 or something like that, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
um,
well, I'll find someone that wants to play Cashier and just move it to them.
yeah, I think, but for Malice, like going back to like the YCS and some of the new decks and stuff with crossover breakers. Uh, I was admittedly, I didn't think Malice was gonna do as well as it did even. So
I didn't think it was.
it feels like it's a shifter or die deck. Like I haven't played. I'm bad at the deck. I haven't played it enough to learn the deck, and the very little I've played against it online, I don't think my opponents were very good either. Because it seemed like if they had, it was shifter or bust for them, and that's how it felt to me too. But when I'm watching on stream, I'm watching the players that know how to play the deck sit down and they're doing all these combos with and without shifter. And I went, oh, okay, I'm playing it wrong and I'm not understanding the deck, and that's fine. Uh, I think if I sat down and learned it or watched like a combo guide one time, I'd get it done. But overall, it is the it's not like too unsurprising that it's not like too surprising that it's good. Uh Ryugi or the other deck in crossover breakers, that deck's never gonna be good. You need like a whole overhaul for that deck to be good. Like
Oh,
I
with the right hand, Michael.
yeah, like that deck doesn't do anything. Oh, it makes a rank 10. Yeah, it makes a rank 10. Do you understand? It commits all its resources for a rank
You
10.
could do that with trains, and that's just a side effect of what they do.
Yeah. I that deck is not good and it struggles to get its own monsters out. Like
I love that. With the right hand, with the right hand, Sprite wins every time.
with the right hand and the opponent having the wrong hand, I can Treasure Panda FTK you. That's not an argument. And it'll take me 40 minutes to do it, but I could sit there and it'll get done
That
eventually.
deck was consistent. Don't you lie.
Oh, it's fun. It's great and it's fun. And the fact I can give my opponent Exodia in one of the builds I have for that deck instead is really funny as well. But it's and it's gotten better technically since now we have 3 upstarts and a chicken game.
Oh God,
But uh
too many.
but it's it dies to like one piece of interaction pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Um but it is really funny. Treasure Panda is a very funny card. For those of you who don't know what it does off the top of the head, Treasure Panda says you can banish a spell from your graveyard face down to special summon. Well, you could. I think it's like any number of spells. Maybe there's an up
That's
to.
any number.
I think it's like up to a certain number.
Basically, you're just going to use one to get the piece of Exodia to
Yeah,
make
to start making Saryujas and
our
all
Ujas
and like synchroing and like doing all kinds of things. You're using the pieces as materials and all that. There's even
you
some
need
decks
snow.
you can play it without snow. It just takes a little bit longer to loop. By a little, I mean a lot longer. Like a lot longer to do the loop, but it does get it done. Um, but yeah, it is interesting. I hope Konami, for the ban list though, starts being more open with the players again. I do like
They
how
said a
what
few months on that last one. I was not expecting it this fast.
yeah. I know that they're probably not gonna like they're probably gonna stay just a few months again and keep it that way because and never say anything again because of what happened with the August ban list. If you remember, they said it's coming in late. It's coming in late August, and everybody was like, "Where's the ban list? Where's the ban list?" Every
Mid August, early August. Where's the ban list? Where's the ban list?
mm-hmm. Even late August, I understand for frustration. Like when it hit like the 25th and it wasn't out
Oh yeah.
and everything, I was like, okay, I kind of get the frustration now, but I'm not too worried about it. I love that they literally waited to the last day in August, though. That's just really funny to me. Late August being the last possible day to do it,
Twist that knife.
and it wasn't even a very good ban list.
No.
But
What Lacrima got hit.
yeah, It was
That's the only
Lacrimon
notable thing.
and Beatrice got banned.
Oh yeah, Beatrice. I think I just blanked on that one.
If I remember correctly, it was an okay ban list. It's just that, like, now that I think about it, the last list was okay. It just wasn't. I don't know. This one is also fine. I don't have like anything too negative other than I do think I wish that Fiendsmith would have got hit. I don't know what they would hit in it without killing it, but
I don't think it was presenting enough numbers to justify it until this event that came up.
yeah. I know that right now, or right before this event, it was like Azumina Snake Eyes was the one that was taking most things. It was like that and Ubel. Ubel was still taking the most representation, but Azumina Snake Eye was also doing well. And sometimes they didn't even play Fiendsmith in either. So like uh but anyway, uh we went for about an hour, so I think we can
Yeah.
call it. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.